This month's episodes are presented in partnership with our good friends at Imagewraps.ca. Imagewraps.ca is your home for the best in signs and graphics that will be sure to get you noticed. They offer vehicle graphics, signage, and graphic design services that will help promote a business, event, partnership, or sale with exquisite appeal and a fresh look to bring eyes to you at a great cost. For our racing fans, look no further than some of the best looking race cars you see out on the track. Imagewraps.ca put those together. The cars of Andy Camrath, Cole Camrath, Carter Camrath, Ryland Camrath, Colton Everingham, Corey McAllister, Chad Strawn, Nolan Gould, Roy Wilkie, Layla Walzer, and every guest of ours this month all had their cars done by Imagewraps.ca. These cars shine on track while appealing to the partnerships on board. That is what Imagewraps.ca can deliver for you as well. Reach out to them at Imagewraps.ca if you want to glow on track with bright fonts, shiny wraps, designs that you reach and are appealing to the eye. We are so excited to present Image Wraps Month here on SNS, and we can't wait to see more of their designs on track. Not only they can offer this, but if you'd like designs for your race team, logos, marketing tools like banners, business cards, brochures, decals, they do that as well. This is your home for all things in visual branding. Go to Imagewraps.ca and start your look today.
Hi, this is Mario Andretti, and you're tuned into Cam, Graydon, and the team at Stickers and Scuffs podcast. They're true Canadian racing fans.
Hello, friends. This is Cam K back with you for the Stickers and Scuffs podcast. It's not Graydon Bunn. It's somebody better looking. It is Carson Nagy because he's better looking because he's just flat out winning everything this year, man. It has been, you know what? It's been really fun to watch you race this year, and not just in one place. You're racing in two divisions, and in the championship battle for both of them, with a guy who's you've been racing against probably, I don't know how many years now in Lane Barrow, like now. Yep. 2 or 3 now. You guys have put on, and I'm not just saying this because you're here, but you've seen my reactions on social media. I'm not kidding when I say that is some of the best racing I have ever seen because it was side by side, it was clean. We may have had one time where it was. I'm not going to blame Lane or Carson. You will, yeah, you will. And then you add in Sean Chenoweth to that. Like, man, Delaware and the Qwick Wick Super Series or Super Stocks, Super Series close. It sounded like CASCAR for a second. How did this happen, dude? Like, you guys did not. I can't say that you had a bad season last year. You didn't, but something's just clicked this year. Was there one particular thing?
I'm not too sure, honestly. Like, we had a lot of bad luck, just a couple of stupid things breaking on us, something we wouldn't expect at the track. But this year there's a lot of motivation to stay consistent because we had a lot of good finishes last year, but it wasn't consistent enough to our liking. So our main goal this year is just to be consistent, hopefully have a chance at winning and racing up front with Lane and all them, right? So that was a big thing in the back of my mind, getting in the car. And even during the week with my dad and my brother, we were all working on the car, paying attention to every little detail. So honestly, I think the biggest thing is being back home, doing everything the best possible way and making sure it's all right.
And that's obviously, there's some comfortability there, right? Is that you are working with family on the car, right? It's not something that you're going out and leaving a car somewhere and having somebody else work on it. You are putting the work in it yourself. Similarly, just like what Lane and the Zardos do with their stuff, right? So, obviously coming into the year, we spoke at Motorama and you were very optimistic, but essentially from the first week, you guys had it, and you've seemed to see. And I'm not sure if I'm right here, but you really haven't seemed to have any sort of struggle navigating your way through Delaware at all this year. It looks like you guys just have the setup week in and week out, which, based on previous conversations with Howard drivers, is not the easiest thing because track conditions are always changing.
Yeah. Delaware last year was a big learning curve coming from Flamborough. Last year was totally just learning. I wanted to come beat the best, race with the best, and learn from the best here at Delaware. So last year was a really good learning year. And coming into 2023, we worked with the guys at McCall's, and they got this thing working so good. Right from unloading the trailer at practice day for the Qwick Wick series, it's just been unreal ever since.
Well, and there's some big stuff potentially that can come out of this. You could potentially win 2 championships in 2 different divisions in the same year. Now, that is being rivaled by Corey McAllister, who's trying to do the same with, so, I mean, it's kind of bragging rights if you or Corey is going to be able to be the one to do it. 2 drivers, of course, that are affiliated with Imagewraps.ca, which is partnering with us for this year. You went through a little bit of a change on the look of the 93 this year, kind of added some color to it, added a new number kind of appearance, also added some new partnerships this year, so you're able to fill out the car a little bit more. But when you're making these decisions after the year, do you decide, hey, I need to change things up because this is bad luck?
Yeah, the big thing with our looks is we always like to change it up, so it's not just the same old scheme. We like to change it up and hopefully outdo the one from the previous year. So going into this year, we wanted to do a lot of orange because my whole family's raced orange cars since my grandfather. So we, instead of the red, black, and white, we decided to get back to the orange and get back to our family roots. And Imagewraps did an amazing job printing our wrap and doing everything. I had a lot of fun designing it, but Imagewraps made the magic happen.
Well, and see, that's really cool to hear that you were able to do that, because one of the things that we wanted to touch on tonight is something that you also do on the side. So you're racing on a weekly basis, semi-regular basis, but on top of that, you are also running a business in RPM Racewear, which has had some really good stuff put out for many, many drivers across Ontario. What was your intention behind that? Was it just something to do for fun, or did you actually want to get into the business of making merchandise?
A really good mix of both. Growing up, I was always a huge fan of seeing the designs on social media and t-shirt designs, just going to NASCAR races. And as I was going through high school, I took a Photoshop class, and it kind of spiraled from there, and self-taught myself everything I know about Photoshop. So everything everyone sees, it's all just me figuring it out on my own. And then once I started getting a little older, I wanted to get into more of the business side, because if I can't drive, I want to be in the business of motorsports. I want to be on that side of it. So I started the RPM Racewear, doing all the apparel, hats, anything you can think of. And just started getting into it as I grew up.
And so obviously it's gone well for you so far. You've gotten some designs. I think Brad Robinson's got a t-shirt out right now for the OSS that you obviously contributed to, and several other things. Obviously you do race graphics as well for people. I've seen a couple of different marketing tools that you're putting together. So have you found that it's not overcrowded within the racing scene? Because there is a lot of people that do designs and a lot of people that do reps, but what is it that you find that you bring to the table?
I find I can bring to the table where it's me doing it. It's another racer, knowing what a racer's looking for. That's my big thing. Just having that eye that a racer wants, like the look that they want for their graphics, their t-shirts. I think I'm able to bring their ideas into how they want it to be. And just, having some fun and doing it for everyone I race with.
So for some people that are getting into racing then, what is the biggest mistake that you think people are making when it comes to their design? Because obviously we see a lot of them. We see a lot of designs out there. We see sometimes you've got painted numbers, sometimes you got tape, sometimes you got all sorts of things. What's one of the things that you think people need to do properly when designing a race car?
Make sure it's not too busy. My big thing is I see a car on the track and there's things everywhere. You don't know what the number looks like. You can't read a logo. That's my big thing when I'm looking at a car. So even when we were doing our design for this year, we wanted something plain, simple, and you're able to read every logo on the car bright when you're watching it on TV or whatever. So that's my big thing coming to design a car.
Which is great to hear because obviously I collect plenty of diecasts and I find that that's the same actually. I like plain because for me, like you said, busy, you need to know what the company is, right? You're promoting them. You obviously have a couple of them and you've put them on the spots where there isn't a ton of color, but something that's very visible, right? And I obviously I like hearing this type of stuff because obviously, like I said, I love paint schemes as well. That's actually what got me into the whole racing thing. Not so much knowing cars. I have no knowledge of cars, but I love the look of race cars. I think they're the coolest looking thing. And unlike anything else, because essentially what it is it's a billboard that you race, essentially. But then you use it for all sorts of marketing techniques. Obviously, you've been doing that on that side with RPM Racewear. Is it a tough business to be a part of?
It is, for me, I've noticed there's a lot of different routes to go. There's a lot of different companies. They all got their own style of look. I've also noticed just looking through stuff and even doing my own. But I noticed there's a lot of different routes you can go, different companies. So that's the big thing I've noticed.
Well, when we kind of move back to the racing side of things, you've obviously had a fantastic season, lots of wins, but there's still challenges in racing. We have them every year. It happens that stuff doesn't always go the way that we were hoping. It's been, I don't know how to say, but it's been a little chaotic at Delaware this year. There's been a lot of carnage. However, you've managed to stay clean and race clean with Lane and Sean. Aside from that one little deal in turn 3. But yeah. Well, we'll just say that. Now, what is the secret to racing clean? Because I think it's been lost by a lot of people. I think we've seen it. One of the problems, and I think Carson, you can attribute this. I mean, you're a super stock racer, which is not the easiest financially to manage. How is it that you guys at your age are able to race clean, yet people that have raced for so many years are not able to do so? I'm loading these questions on you because we've got to get some really big answers here because you've got the secret. You raced clean with these guys side by side at Delaware of all places. So what do you think it is?
I think we wreck each other all week on iRacing, so we're good to go when we hit the racetrack. No, I don't know what the trick is. I find I've learned to race people the way I'd like to be raced with. I'd like those favors to be returned at some point. And, as I'm starting to get older, I'm starting to pay for this stuff. So can't be driving like I was when I was 13, starting in a super stock. So that's a big standpoint I've learned. Just working with that and starting to pay for stuff myself. Cost of everything. That's
the cost of everything. And let's just put it out there. Where are we in terms of costs for this year? Are we up Are we down? Are we about the same for the past couple of years?
Luckily, since I haven't been wrecking too much this year, it's been all right. Luckily, with the tire inventory at Delaware, tires haven't been too bad for our team. But yeah, just keeping our nose clean and conserving our tires has been helping us a ton this year.
But the driving, like you said, the people racing clean around you, that's obviously got to help. The reality is, though, you got to go home and win 2 championships and beat Lane Zardo to at least one of them. I believe it's maybe it's Jay Dewar out at Delaware that you're up against. There's a big difference in how long Jay Dewar has been driving compared to how long you've been driving. What do you have to do? Obviously, you just finish ahead of him. That's an easy question. But mentality-wise, because we talk a lot about mental health on this show, what do you have to do to prepare?
Honestly, the biggest thing, just don't even worry about points. I just got to get in the car and race my race. I've never been a points racer ever. Obviously I take a look here and there, but I've never really worried about racing for that. Not that I don't want to win a championship, but I'm not going to stress about it throughout the year, add extra stress, right? So biggest thing is just it's another Friday night at Delaware. It's another Qwick Wick race, just on to the next one, and whatever happens, happens, really.
Well, you've got 2 of them, too. So one has to go well for the other one, then. You can't get wrecked out, basically. Now, I'm going to throw it out there. You do have another car in the stable right now.
Yeah.
Do you kick Hudson out if you need the car?
If we need the car, if something goes really south, I think, unfortunately, we might have to. We'll see. We don't like to think about what might happen for that worst case scenario, but that's the option that's always there for us. So...
Well, and that obviously they came together very late, but you got to be able to be out there with your brother. I mean, I don't know how long it's been. I don't know. It's been a while since you guys were racing actually together on the racetrack. So that's got to be nice having him back.
Yeah, I love having my brother in a super stock. It's nice to have a teammate and almost like bounce ideas off what we're doing with each other, right, on the track. And luckily, we haven't ran each other over yet. We had a close call.
You had a close call.
Really close.
I was going to say, did you?
Last time we raced together, we were in go-karts, and I was testing him, following him around the track, trying to learn. I didn't like that he was ahead of me, so I cut the grass and I ran over him. Him underneath my go-kart. So luckily I've learned not to do that in a race car. So it's been good so far.
Now, I think we all want to know, when is the hood photo of Jim happening? Because you did the bumper, and I'm telling you, a couple years ago we did you had the Corey LaJoy with the beard, the Old Spice deal. I need to see a Jim hood decal all of next year if we win the championship. I'm just saying, like, the fact that people look in their mirrors and they just see Jim's face coming, like, it's just marketing gold, is it not?
Absolutely. My dad hates it. But it's such a crowd favorite now, with everybody taking pictures out.
Yeah.
Racers even loving it. So we had to put on a new nose on our car. It was all black from 2021. And if we were wrapping it, we might as well have some fun with it, right? So did that. And who knows, if we have a good year this year, maybe we'll surprise Dad with him on the whole front end of the car and even give him some hair to go along the back.
We got to be realistic, though, right?
Right.
It is nice to see that there is still that comedy side of racing. It's not all serious. There's some fun in games. It's a very tense time, obviously, in motorsports. I think Peterborough this weekend, Sauble this weekend, things were not great. There was some fights. There was some issues with officiating. There was harsh words coming out. How do you get away, Carson, when the season ends? Obviously, if you win a championship, you're fine, right? You're gold. You're going to go celebrate. Mm-hmm. But you got to think about next year at some point. So how long do you get away for?
You know, if things go well, probably have some fun for a day or two. But as soon as those days are done, we're right back at it, tearing the car apart, going through everything all winter. There's no stop. Just no matter how a night goes, you can't just stop and think about it. You got to move on to the next one, how you can get better and better. And I think that's also a big reason why we've had such a incredible year. It's honestly been a dream season, and just keeping our heads down and trying to get a little bit more each and every week.
You've obviously got a lot in the tank. We've seen it. But I have to ask, you've done the late model route before. You're in the super stocks right now. Do we have any sort of future plans? Are we going to stick with super stocks for next year? Are we going to come and join the OSS? Are we going to? Though you have raced, I believe, at least one.
Yeah.
Back in the day. Are you going to go run a Pinty's race, or are you going to retire and become Rick Hendrick and own 4 cars? Right. There's a lot of stuff that potentially could happen in the off season. Do you have a plan for next year, or are you going to think about that more once the season's wrapped up?
We'll probably wait till we're done the next 3 races. It's tough to think about the future right now when we're doing what we're doing right now and what position we're in. So right now our big focus is the next 3 races, and hopefully we can keep clean for them. Not really any plans. We kind of go with the flow. Like 2021, we were building a brand new Pro Late model. Things happened there, and we ended up with a super stock done the week of the first Qwick Wick race in 2020. So, we just go with the flow. We don't like to plan anything. Not that we don't like to plan, but we don't like to set anything in stone early.
Yeah.
We like to see what happens. If there's any opportunities that come up for me and it works, it makes sense, we'd love to do it. But right now, we're having a blast in the super stock. I love the way we're racing. I love everything about it. These cars they're a handful. They're probably the hardest car I've driven, but they're the most fun I've had in a race car.
That's, I had a conversation with a driver today actually about that and having fun and wanting it to be fun. It's a hard thing because you have the seriousness of wanting to win a championship, but also it's a hobby. You want to enjoy it. You don't want to go to the racetrack not enjoying yourself. Has there been a point this year where you kind of said, you know what, I don't want to do this? Or are you at the point right now where, man, you know what, nothing can go wrong this year?
See, I wish I could say I've thought nothing could go wrong this year. We've had a couple incidents with a couple of really good drivers, but I don't know. It's always fun to me. I just love being in a race car. I'm just happy having a chance to be out there. Biggest thing for me is staying clean and just having a chance to run up front with these guys, right? Like before I got into a super stock, I was watching these guys win races, Jay winning, Culver winning, Lane running about 8th up at Sunset. But it means a lot just running up front with these guys I was watching and learning from.
Yeah, we can't mix words here. It was a bit of a rough year for the super stock division for the Qwick Wicks. A lot lower in numbers. Some names that did not come back stayed home, did weekly. What's your outlook, do you think, for the division? We go through lulls and we go through peaks and valleys, but I think with some names, specifically out at Delaware, that I know that there's a Pro Late model driver that Darrell Lake has mentioned that he's going to come back and run super stocks. I'm not sure if he's referring to Qwick Wicks, but I'm pretty sure he's at Delaware. Is it a division that you think is going to continue to have those peaks and valleys because sometimes it just depends on the money and availability of these cars?
I think the super stock division is going to really grow in the next couple of years. I know we had a few less drivers in the Qwick Wick series, but if you look through the list of those 13 full-time drivers, they're the best in Ontario. And I think we've proven it putting on the shows we have. We've only had probably 4 cautions in the first 4 races now. And we're within that 0.5 of a second, just like the APC guys. And I think a lot of guys, if they're getting out of the Pro Late model stuff, they might come. I think a lot of guys have been messaging me, seeing how much fun me, Lane, Sean, Trevor, everybody at Delaware is having racing the way we are. And I think it's going to continue to grow and be something big.
Well, I can tell you that I get a ton of enjoyment watching weekly out at Delaware Speedway. You guys are killing it. The Qwick Wick races out at GeForce TV, fantastic coverage. The fact that you guys are getting that coverage as well is excellent. And you've had some big names come out to those races. The weekly racers that are joining the Super Stock division when you guys do come. So I like that, actually. Now that you've kind of convinced me a little bit just in that conversation that, yeah, you do have the best in Ontario that are traveling to these tracks. And that is helping bring those other names in, because then they can compete against them. Obviously, Carson, we here at the podcast, we absolutely love having you as an SNS racing driver. We got on there a little late. I don't know if we made it onto the car. It got damaged a couple of times, so it's okay. We can hold off. But you've got some amazing supporters that have been with you for a couple of years, and you got some new ones on this year. So this is your moment to shout them out and to thank anybody that you would like that has helped you get to the racetrack this year.
Yeah, I got to thank HumberviewParts.ca. They've been a huge support for us this season, the new partner for us. Queenston Chevrolet, they've sponsored us since we were in the Pro Late model for about 4 years now. Fielding Estate Winery, RPM Racewear, Pure Energy Performance, Northern Performance, my mom, dad, brother, everybody that works on the car, Nate Spinks, Colton Everingham, Wally Wilson, and everybody at McCall Racing. Just everybody that's been around me this year, making this season what it is for us. I can't thank them enough.
It's been a fantastic season. We cannot wait to see how it ends. One thing, obviously, I want to make sure that I get to see is the 93 celebrating a championship at Delaware Speedway. That would be amazing. Definitely, we wish you the very best. Carson, thank you so much for coming on and joining us for Image Wraps Month, episode 1 of this 5-episode series.
Yes, thanks for having me. It's always fun coming on here and doing these interviews. It means we're doing something right. So hopefully we can keep our nose clean and finish the year off strong.
Absolutely. That's Carson Nagy here on the Stickers and Scuffs podcast.